I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like everybody they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
The courtroom was already heavy with tension, but nobody could have predicted the shock that was about to unfold. Iman Shumpert sat tall in his chair, his jaw locked tight, eyes fixed on the judge as though he could will the decision in his favor. He thought today would be another step in the long, exhausting process of fighting for more time with his daughters. Another chance to argue that he was not only present but essential in their lives. What he didn't know was that the direction of the case was about to flip in a way that would leave him stunned, humiliated, and furious. Out of nowhere, his ex's new partner, British actor Aaron Pierre, made a legal move no one had seen coming. As the judge shuffled through the thick stack of papers, cleared his throat and spoke with deliberate calm, he announced that Aaron had filed for legal recognition as a stepfather. The words sent shockwaves through the room, sucking the air from the space. Whispers rose immediately, filling every corner as heads turned and murmurs echoed. Shumpert's head whipped toward Aaron, his face twisted in disbelief, frozen as if someone had just shattered the ground beneath him. This wasn't just a messy custody battle anymore. It had become personal, dangerous, and painfully intimate. To Shumpert, it felt like his very identity as a father was being ripped away in front of strangers. Imagine walking into court ready to argue for visitation rights only to discover another man was legally maneuvering to insert himself into your children's lives, not as a visitor but as a recognized parent. That was the nightmare Iman was suddenly living. The road to this moment stretched back years. Shumpert and Teyana Taylor had once embodied the dream of love and success. She was the singer, actress, and entrepreneur who commanded every room she entered, while he was the NBA player turned entertainment figure, admired for his athleticism and charisma. Together they built a family anchored by two daughters who quickly became the heart of their world. Fans adored them not only as individuals but as a unit, celebrating their bond as authentic and resilient, the rare celebrity couple who looked like they could withstand anything. But like so many fairy tales in Hollywood, the glossy image masked cracks that deepened under the weight of fame, pressure, and private struggles. By the time the pair announced their split, speculation was already running rampant, and when Aaron Pierre's name began to surface, the whispers only grew louder. At first it was subtle. A candid photo here, a sighting there, moments that could be explained away. Then the presence became undeniable. Aaron wasn't lurking on the margins, he was everywhere. He appeared at red carpet events alongside Teyana, joined family vacations, and was even spotted casually spending time with her children. To some fans, it seemed like a natural, supportive evolution, a man stepping up to be present for the woman he loved and the children she was raising. But to Iman, every glimpse of Aaron near his daughters felt like a knife twisting in his chest. No matter what had gone wrong between him and Teyana, those girls were his blood, his reason for enduring the lowest valleys of his life. The thought of another man inching closer to them, being introduced into their milestones, their laughter, their routines, was unbearable. He steeled himself for the custody battle ahead, prepared for the painful but familiar fight of proving himself in court. What he did not expect was Aaron turning the conflict into something far bolder, something unprecedented. Back in the courtroom, the judge's words echoed like thunder when he revealed Aaron's petition. This wasn't symbolic. Aaron was demanding legal standing, visitation, decision-making power, the right to be recognized as more than just a boyfriend. The gallery gasped. Even seasoned reporters leaned forward, desperate to record the details. Shumpert's lawyer leapt from his seat, objecting with raw intensity, calling the filing outrageous, a direct assault on the sanctity of fatherhood, something the court had no precedent for. Shumpert himself muttered furiously under his breath, fists clenched so tightly they looked bone-white. To him this wasn't just paperwork. It was betrayal, a razor slicing at the bond he held most sacred. The idea that another man's name might appear beside his daughter's in legal documents felt like an erasure of everything he had poured into fatherhood. Yet Aaron sat still, too calm, his body language unsettling in its restraint. He whispered occasionally to his attorney but never raised his voice, never argued back, his expression unreadable. The quiet only enraged Iman more. Everyone wanted to know why. Why take such a provocative, risky step? Was it, as some speculated, an act of love, The mark of a man who had grown attached to the children and wanted security in his role? Or was it something more controlling, a way to bind himself into Teyana's life permanently, regardless of Shumpert's feelings? Whatever the truth, the filing triggered a wave of debate well beyond the courtroom walls. The story hit social media within minutes and the backlash was instant. Some voices applauded Aaron, arguing that he was stepping up for children who needed consistency in a fractured home. But the louder response was outrage. "Those are Iman's kids, not his," one tweet read. Another demanded, "How dare he even try to take another man's place?" Hashtags trended, timelines flooded, and the drama became one of the most talked about celebrity sagas overnight. Yet beneath the noise for Iman, the issue was simple and painfully raw. This was about blood, about the bond he had built from the first steps and first words to scraped knees and bedtime stories. No court filing could undo that, and no outsider could rewrite that history. Still, in the courtroom he felt cornered, powerless, as though someone was trying to stamp their name onto his life's greatest accomplishment. And then there was Teyana. Sitting between the storm, tears welled in her eyes as she watched the two men who defined her past and present battle over the children she cherished most. Some observers thought she looked shocked, blindsided by Aaron's move, while others believed she must have known. Was her silence complicity or shock? Nobody could say for sure, but her refusal to speak only deepened the speculation. Fans filled in the blanks with their own theories, some accusing her of betrayal, others defending her as a woman caught in an impossible position. The judge struggled to maintain control as the hearing stretched into hours. Lawyers barked objections, voices rose, papers rustled like weapons. At one point, Shumpert slammed his hand on the table, shouting that no one could ever replace him as a father. His lawyer cited precedent after precedent, underscoring the rights of biological fathers. But Aaron's attorney countered with arguments of stability, emotional connection, and the role Aaron had played during times of upheaval. The clash was less about statutes and more about emotions, each word landing with the weight of two children's futures. Outside, the chaos multiplied. Paparazzi swarmed the courthouse steps, capturing every grimace and glare. Fans fought in comment sections, debating whether Aaron was a hero or a homewrecker. Blogs plastered headlines like, "Aaron Pierre challenges Iman Shumpert for role as dad," and "Teyana torn between love and loyalty." For Shumpert, the humiliation burned deeply. To have his role as a father questioned in such a public, viral way felt like the ultimate disrespect. And beneath the fury lived a darker fear. The fear of losing time with his daughters, of watching them form attachments that would wound him, of being reduced to a visitor in the very lives he had built. Aaron, however, seemed unfazed by the storm. In his mind, this was the right step. He pointed to the time he had already invested, the routines he claimed to share, the stability he offered when their parents' relationship collapsed. To his supporters, it was proof of devotion. To his critics, it was audacity bordering on arrogance. By the time the judge finally raised his gavel, no resolution had been reached. The decision was postponed, the ruling delayed until further evidence could be gathered. The complexity of the case weighed too heavily to rush. But for those living it, the delay felt like punishment. The battle lines had already been drawn, not just in filings and objections but in the hearts of everyone involved. As the courtroom emptied, the aftermath hung like a storm cloud. Shumpert walked out silent, his face controlled but his eyes burning with rage and hurt. He replayed memories in his mind, school runs, late nights, birthdays, and vowed silently that no one, not even a court, would strip him of that role. Aaron exited with the opposite energy, head high, each step deliberate, as if confident he had landed a blow even without a ruling. He carried himself with pride, believing he had proven his seriousness and secured his place in the narrative. And Teyana left drained, her silence louder than any statement, her tears born not only of shock or fear but of exhaustion. Emotional, mental, spiritual. She had never wanted this war, but now it raged around her, tearing at the fragile peace she hoped to maintain. Two men, two truths, two different versions of love clashed in a battle neither child could understand. In the end, this wasn't just a legal dispute. It was a war between past and present, between love and ego, between loyalty and power. And at the center were two children being pulled in opposite directions without ever knowing why. As the case moves forward, one haunting question remains. Will Iman remain the only father they've ever known, or will Aaron's bold step carve a new reality into their lives? Only time and the court can answer, but until then, the scars of that day linger like a wound that refuses to close.